All right, good evening and welcome to Bedford City Council, regular session of April 19th, 2021. Call to order, and if you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, clerk, call a roll, please.
Banks.
Here.
Janudis.
Here.
Fluharty.
Here.
Mezak.
Here.
Asbury.
Here.
Saunders.
Here.
Cochi.
Here. And I would also like to welcome Jennifer Howland, our Assistant Finance Director, for joining us again. Thanks for being here. And Council, you have the minutes of the work session of April 5th, 2021. Any corrections to those? Seeing none, can I have a motion for acceptance by Mezak, second by Spinks? Clerk, call the roll.
Banks.
Yes.
Janudis.
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Mezak.
Yes.
Asbury.
Going to abstain because I wasn't officially sworn in at that point.
Saunders.
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. And Council, you have the minutes of the regular meeting of April 5th, 2021. Any corrections to that? Seeing none, can I have a motion for acceptance by Asbury, second by Janudis? Call the roll, please.
Spinks.
Yes.
Janudis.
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Mezak.
Yes.
Asbury.
Yes.
Saunders.
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. And under old business, we have ordinance number 9864-21. An ordinance, bless you.
Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with GPD Group to conduct a no feasible alternatives analysis and declaring an emergency. I want a motion for suspension by Mezak, second by Spinks. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks.
Yes.
Janudis.
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Mezak.
Yes.
Asbury.
Yes.
Saunders.
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. And a motion for third and final by Asbury, second by Fluharty. Mike, you want to touch on this?
Thank you, Mayor. As previously mentioned in some meetings, the city is part of our renewal permit with the Ohio EPA for the wastewater treatment facility. One of our requirements is conducting this no feasible alternative study. This is the first step in outlining major upgrades and improvements that'll be required at the plant. We went ahead and got a couple of different quotes. Our recommendation is that we move forward with GPD services. Although the other quote did come in under GPD's, it was only for roughly 6 months worth of work, and it did not include the necessary modeling for the upgrades and how those upgrades will improve the plant. GPD's quote does include that modeling. It equates to about 14 months worth of work. When we actually broke it down and looking at the dollar amount per hour for the staff members required to be working on this, it comes to about $95 to $100 an hour for GPD, whereas the other company's fees were roughly $135 an hour. Looking at what we have to accomplish and in the timeline, it's the administration's recommendation we move forward with GPD and start on the study.
Any questions for Mike? Okay, clerk, call the roll, please.
Banks,
Yes.
Janutus,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Abstain.
Cochi.
Yes. And we have a motion to approve or deny the zoning board of appeals decision to accept a variance of ordinances 1925.05 lot area, frontage and yard requirements, and 1925.06 principal use orientation requested by Sam Vitrezino of 933 Archer Road, Bedford. Council, yes
Mayor,
vote
would
will
you like
mean,
me to make the motion? I could suggest the motion. If somebody makes it, that would be great. Unless you care to make it, it's up to you.
I would, yes,
Can we get a motion to approve the BZA decision on the condition that the applicant submit the required drawings within 30 days and complete the work within 60 days to complete the project? That would be the proper motion.
Motion to accept.
and with that motion, made by Asbury,
Yeah.
second by Saunders.
Got it.
Again, that was just for the amendment, correct? We don't have to
Yes,
vote on
and the approval. I mean,
the
you know,
approval. And again, but yes vote means you agree with
BZA.
the zoning appeals. They approved it. Yes vote, you agree with the approval. No vote, you disagree with the approval. So we're all clear on that. Okay, and with the caveat at the end, to take a vote on clerk, call the roll, please.
Banks,
Yes.
Janutus,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. And that will go back to the building department. Reports. Mr. City Manager. Before we start that, I want to remind everybody, as we always do, if you have a comment at the, that we will read at the end of the hearing of citizens, it is citymanager@bedfordoh.gov. Send in your comment to citymanager@bedfordoh.gov. Thank you. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, that's okay, Mayor. Thank you. Dan, thanks for mentioning that. Just gonna fly through a handful of things we have going on here. First, just wanted to give a reminder that the Ellenwood Waterline project is slated to begin this week. All of the residents that would be affected should have received a letter outlining the project and the contractor. We believe that project will be completed in 60 days, which is the goal, and have that all wrapped up by the time the municipal pool gets ready to open. We are also in the process of starting to advertise for the 2021 road program. We're going to be advertising for bids on that. It's tentative, but we are looking at, and this could change, but we are looking at resurfacing Bell, Deborah, Edgewood. We are including Nordham as an alternative, as an alternate, but we want to see what those prices come in at. Most likely that may have to wait until 2022, but we're going to try to get as much done as possible. We also, on top of the Ellenwood resurfacing, which we added to that waterline project, as mentioned, we're also working to resurface Union Street with Cuyahoga County, and the staff had recently received a grant for improvements to Egbert Road. So we'll be doing some concrete repairs on Egbert as well. I want to commend well, one, Frank puts together these numbers, but I want to commend him for having the data, and two, the water department, who's over the last few years have really been doing an outstanding job identifying leaks, identifying areas of our system that can get buttoned up. And, you know, the last report that Frank put together, the percentage of the water billed that we have been seeing reach 91% last month. The last time we've seen numbers in a percentage that high was 1994. The system is not getting newer. Yes, we've made improvements, but I think this really shows the dedication of the service department, the water department in specific. And I just want to commend them for that. They're doing a tremendous job. I also want to kudos to Jen Kuzma. She's been working diligently on a number of grants that the city's recently been awarded. We received $15,000 grant from the Ohio EPA, and that will lead to electric vehicle charging stations in the historic district. We are looking at charging stations for the municipal center as well, but we have to see where that application leads. And we also received a grant for other improvements in the historic district, the most notably offering of public Wi-Fi on the commons. So kudos to Jen on some of those improvements, modern improvements to our historic district that I think will, visitors will benefit from that. I want to commend Clint Beller and the staff at the service department. The city was recently recognized as a 2020 Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation. So kudos to everybody, as well as our tree board. Installing the 100+ trees that we did last year obviously helped in increasing our tree canopy. So kudos to the staff. I want to mention that we have been advertising for a number of different programs down at the Parks and Recreation Center, be it summer camp. I know our first session is filled. We are taking signups for the second session, as well as some other programs that are being advertised, as well as the staff are working already to get the pool facility ready for a summer 2021 opening. So lots going on. Stay tuned as far as events on the square later this summer. We will be putting it together some information and sharing that with the public in the coming weeks. End of report.
Mike, have we got any start date yet for Union Street?
We do not. They actually have to bid that project. We submitted all the plans. When we passed the legislation, the county agreed to allow the city to design those plans. We had those to the county April 1st. They reviewed those, and now we had requested to manage it, which would have allowed the city to bid it and all of that. The county did not authorize us to manage that. So they're going to be doing that. They'll be going out to bid. And when we find that out, I will share it. So right now there's no timeline on that.
Okay, thank you. John Montello, Mr. Law Director.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just urge people to accept the decision in the Floyd trial, no matter what it may be, and encourage people to protest peacefully, even if they do not agree. Other than that, no report. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Finance Director, Mr. Gambosi.
Yes, just kudos to the service department, Clint, and all his people on the Tree City Award. That's wonderful. They've had many, many years of receiving that award and keeping up the canopy, as Mike alluded to. Also, their water department did a fantastic job. They've been doing a great job for the last few years, tightening up the system, what we pay for water in Cleveland versus what we bill out to the consumers of our water is very, very tight now, and they've done a fantastic job. Kudos to them. Great work. In regards to the tax department, May 17th is our deadline. As you know, it was extended from the April 15th date. We sent out some notices to everyone who didn't file. And I think Jennifer will conclude with this. Jennifer, in regards to people dropping off returns to our mailbox that we have at City Hall, I believe we've had quite a few of them. Is that what you saw too? And you have to unmute.
You're
Well,
muted.
anyways, I've seen, there's been a lot of people dropping off. Haven't you seen that lately? Oh, it's not working. The sounds.
Chief just, can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. Chief just updated me today that we have over 2,000 returns turned in. I think we usually have between 4 and 5 by
Yes.
the end of the season.
Right.
And we do have just under a month to get the rest of the returns in. And we really do want to encourage everyone to get their returns in early so they know how much they owe. Because once that May 18th hits, that 15% penalty will hit your tax bill if it's not paid by then.
Correct. I'd like to add to that what we've been doing for everybody, since we can't meet face to face, we do ask that if you haven't filed, if you haven't put your returns together and ready to do so and send it in, many will send it in later in middle of the month. If not, and you haven't put it together, if you bring the W-2s down to or mail it to City Hall, we will then put that together for you, bill you out. If you get it in by the end of April, we'll be able to kick that out to you so that the return will be calculated. And if there's any tax due, you'll have the ability to pay that by the 17th. And Jennifer said that exactly right, because as soon as that ends, then the penalties do apply per state law. That's the end of my report tonight.
Thank you. Council, Mrs. Spinks.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Talking about trees and stuff, Mike, are they going to be going out? I know we did have some trouble with the chipper was down, and I know there was a couple of residents said that their limbs did not get picked up. I know there's a bunch out, and I do want to remind all the residents, if you do have limbs out, make sure that you call down the service department and let them know. They just don't come out and pick up limbs. You have to call them and get on the list. But Mike, are they going to be going back out before May? Because I know the next one's not going to be till the first week of May.
Yeah, the next one would,
week.
the next one would be in a couple weeks, but I don't have a timeline on it right now because we don't have a chipper.
Okay.
We got to send our chipper out to the manufacturer because we believe there's a computer issue with it. So right now I don't have an ETA on when that'll be back.
Okay.
I mean, if we're forced to and it's still not back by that first week of May, we're gonna have to rent another one so we're on our normal schedule.
Okay. Okay. So I just want to remind residents that please do call the service department and get on that list. If you haven't already. No, it's really windy tonight. I'm watching limbs and stuff fall down in the backyard. So I'm sure we're going to have quite a few. Mike, also another question for you. I know that we have the new radar or whatever they are for the stop sign things out. Are they going to be moving those around? Because I noticed the one that was on Grand was nowhere near the trouble area that we're having, and the cars, again, it just, and I was out there mowing the lawn. They see me right by the stop sign, and I will literally point at the stop sign. They don't even attempt to slow down. And I mean, I've had people say, well, we might as well just take the stop signs down. Well, no, we're not. And it's just crazy. I know I've been complaining about this for years and years, but again, something has to be done. It's just, it's crazy, and especially with summer coming, and the kids, they're going to get out, they're going to ride their skateboards and stuff. Some of our sidewalks are, a little bit too dangerous for the kids to be riding their skateboards on the sidewalks. So the kids, are going to be in the street. It's just, I don't want to wait. I've said this repeatedly till an accident happens. And I know our guys are out there. I know the police department, I know they're writing tickets. I know our guys are diligently doing everything that they possibly can. So Mike, are they going to be moving those around? Okay, you're muted.
Yeah, they'll be moved around. One of them can be moved around and one is permanent. Right
Okay.
now we have one stationed on Broadway that'll most likely stay in the Broadway area and collect data for us. And then there's others that'll get moved around.
Okay. Okay. Because I know in the past when we had those signs that were on the thing, and then when it would come, I would get up at council meetings before council and I would complain, and then the other council person would always say, well, there was nobody said, well, yeah, when you see a sign and you get right up and you got time to see it, you're going to slow down when you see it. So sometimes, yeah, they'll just can be moved around would be great. Also to the residents, if you're going to be putting furniture or stuff on your tree lawn, Ward 1, everybody should know that our trash picks up on Wednesdays unless a holiday falls or something, and then we're behind. Please don't do that on a Friday, and then your poor neighbor has to look at it until Wednesday, or you put your trash out. We're getting more and more of that. And of course, with these windy days, there's trash blowing all over the place. Some incidents that are happening is that people are moving out. Then there's no one for anybody to, except the landlord, decide, or if it's a house that they move out of and it's just they just move out and it's a repo or whatever. And then they leave all this trash and it's just all over the place, or you have to look at it for a week. That's starting to get bad again. I've noticed that in the last couple of weekends. I know with the weather getting better, of course, it's supposed to snow on Wednesday. So, and again, please don't put your trash cans out on the streets. They also, for some good stuff, Happy Earth Day, which is going to be April 22nd coming up. I don't know, ones of you that get the Sunday paper, they had some really, really, really good stuff on Earth Day, things that you can do to your home that are earth friendly. And there was the thing that most impressed me, there was a huge article on outdoor heaters and fire pits, which one is better for our planet. So that's a quiz for everybody. Everybody should know what this is, but if you get a chance, you study paper, and then there was a great coloring section for the kids. So I think that's really great. You can go on the Plain Dealer website. That would have been, let's see, April the 18th. And there's some really handy things that are earth friendly that you can do to your home to save our earth. So I'm going to end with that. Be kind, be friendly, and save our earth. End of report.
Thank you. Mr. Janutus.
Thank you. Well, I noticed Bedford looks very beautiful right now at this time of year, and with all the flowering trees and in the spring flowers, and it just looks wonderful, and everyone is enjoying it. And Sandy mentioned Earth Day. What we've always done with our family is we get a garbage bag out and pick up trash. That's what we think is, our idea of a good Earth Day. End of report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fluharty.
Thank you, Mayor. I was going to talk about income tax too, but Frank answered all the questions I was going to ask. So anybody get your W-2s in, and so that gets all taken care of by middle of May. I just want to remind everybody that. And Sandy also talked about the chipper and stuff, so that was answered too. So the only other question I got, or other comment, is that it's grass season. People start getting out cutting your grass. Let's keep up with it, and so some of these properties don't look like trash. I don't know how else to explain it. Just take care of your property, cut your grass. If you got a problem, find somebody to help you cut the grass. That's all I can say. End of report.
Thank you. Mrs. Mezak.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody, and my counterparts. It's nice to see everybody on the same screen. First off, all my concerns were addressed to our city manager earlier over the weekend, and I appreciated him having enough time to reply to some of the small concerns I received over the weekend. Mike, you mentioned that we're going to possibly have Belle and Deborah done. And as far as having the streets resurfaced, that'll be probably Deborah and Belle. Will that include the curbs? And that will it all? No.
No curb work. No curb work.
Okay. Well, okay, are you gonna have the same person that did Powers? Because they did an extremely good job on that road. Other than the litter in the area that I suggested the streets get all cut down and cleaned up.
Yeah, we don't know. We're just tentatively we're going to be advertising for bids. So we're not sure what that lowest will come in at and most
Okay.
responsive bid. So I'm not sure who that will be. And that list is obviously tentative. We have to look and see what the numbers are. And, if one comes in significantly high, we may need to adjust that, but we'll have a recommendation to council, hopefully in the coming weeks.
My next question to you, there are some old flowering crab trees that did not survive the winter months, and they're not producing anything. They're like dead now. And when the utility companies did yoke these trees, they made them look terrible. So how would we go around to rate these trees that have to come down? Who's going to do that? The tree board? And how soon can that be done?
Well, no, our staff would be going around, they have been out, they've been trimming tree lawn trees. And if they've identified some that need to come down, we will get to them when we can.
All right.
If they're large trees that have to be contracted out, we will do that. It all depends on, safety, if it's an immediate hazard, what that is. So our arborist, he's going around and he will, if you have a specific address.
Yeah, I was going to give you a list of different trees.
Okay.
And one other thing, since I do have a few requests from others, there is cable wire hanging, and most likely it's from Spectrum. These are annoying to look at every day. They're just hanging down from the main cable because they were too lazy to either bundle them or hang them on the pole where it should be. And the pole that was replaced by CEI in the backyard of 750 West Glendale, the removal of the old pole, are they still removing old poles, or are they going to just let it stay there?
No, they are. So the process is a lot of times where that cable line hangs, when CEI replaces a pole, or if they put in a new pole, they can't touch the cable company's lines. They have to put in an order to that cable company to go out and move and relocate those. Once that's relocated, then they can come out and remove the old pole. So a lot of times when you see the double poles, it's because the cable company hasn't transferred their stuff to the new pole yet, and an order is waiting. Clint and Sean Francis have done a great job trying to push this along. I also participated in a meeting, and First Energy was going to look at addressing some of these. So I agree with you. Sometimes it takes longer than it should, but that's the process. First Energy, they can put a new pole in and they can transfer their lines or their equipment, but they can't touch the cable companies. They have to put in an order for the cable company to do theirs. That's why that's like that.
Well, the one that has the hanging wire is at the corner of West Glendale and Broadmoor before 750. It's not even involved with that light pole. But we will discuss that at a later time. But other than that, everybody's starting to get everything ready in their yards for the spring and summer season. And we do have about 3 houses for sale within the area up here if anybody's interested. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Asbury.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Mike already touched on the Parks and Recreation. I just wanted to make sure that people knew that the sign up for youth baseball runs until April 30th. So if you got your little ones out there that want to sign up, please do that. There's also some pretty neat online offerings, virtual painting, virtual cooking, things such as that. So if you want to take a look at the city website, bedfordoh.gov, click on Parks and Recreation, and you can see all their offerings. I wanted to mention that the service department is doing the household hazardous roundup and the computer recycle roundup starting today through April 30th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. during the week at the service department 100 Solon Road. And it'll also be on Saturday, April 24th from 9 to noon. If you check the city's website, they will have a list of everything that you can drop off and recycle. Bedford Downtown Alliance is always looking for volunteers. Their first Friday of the year will be Friday, May 7th. They are looking for volunteers. The next volunteer meeting is this Thursday, the 22nd at 7 p.m. at the Pompei's. So if you'd like to volunteer for the Bedford Downtown Alliance, please come on down. And it was already mentioned, but let's be careful Tuesday night into Wednesday. We might have some snow accumulation. So we know it's possible. Plan ahead and be safe. Stay warm. Thank you. End of report.
Thank you. Mr. Saunders.
And first thing is, Sandy's concern on stop signs is definitely a problem. I don't think anybody stops for any of the stop signs in the city anymore. They just seem to run them, or they'll just briefly slow down and just blow right through them. And it doesn't matter where you are at in the city. It's really getting bad. So you have to really watch it, even when you're driving in the road, because let's face it, these people are driving down the middle of the road too. So they have no concern for other drivers, pedestrians, or anybody anymore. It's just really getting bad. But a quick note, Tom Menardo would like Nordum done before he turns 100 next January. I know Nordum was listed as an alternate, but he did mention to me the other day that it would be a nice 100th birthday party if the street got done. So when you mentioned that, I had to bring that up. But
I know. I think about him
I'm
often.
sure you do.
I think about him often.
Yeah, but as Paula mentioned, the crabapple trees, there's a couple on Columbus Road that are deader than doornails. They didn't survive either. So, and Wally mentioned the beautiful trees that are blooming, and you look down Columbus Road and all the beautiful white blooms. Well, the neighbors hate it. They smell. And I mean, those pear trees have an awful odor to their blooms. So they're very pretty to look at. Just hold your nose. So we need to go back to like the crab apples where we'd have one street pink and one street red and those type of things. But I know those don't last much more than 25, 30 years and then they croak. Although they say the pear trees don't now either, because of our severe winters that we normally have, but we haven't had any severe winters. So so be it with that. Wally mentioned the grass being mowed. It's nice that people are mowing their lawns, but stop blowing it in the street. I went down 2 streets the other day and the streets were green. You'd swear somebody painted them for St. Patrick's Day, and they just left the grass there. Now, not only does it plug the sewers, but if it gets wet, it's extremely slippery. Cars can slide on it. And with the parked car problem that we still have in some areas, you can slide into a parked car very easily without much effort because your wheels aren't just going to slide right off of them. So if you blow it into the street, make sure you come back and get rid of it out of the street, so that you don't create a hazard for your neighbors. And then one last point for Mike, who's busy multitasking. The sycamore tree at Ennis and Logan, that thing's dropping stuff. I know we took the one sycamore tree down 2 years ago because it was hollowed out. Can we get that checked again? Because that tree the neighbors are worried because they've already had one branch hit their car last year and it's not looking good. I know sycamores have a virus also that are gradually eating them away and killing them. It's a shame that the world order that we have today is bringing in all these viruses and bugs, not just for people, but for our landscaping too. So it's it's causing devastation. And I'm glad to see we got the Tree City grant, even though we still have a lot of trees to cut down. But and the fact that we do have streets that look rather naked without trees. But hopefully we can get similar grants again this year, so we can start filling in where the bigger trees had taken out, mostly ashes and maples. But I won't see them get that big like they were. But we need to get back to our canopy streets like we used to have. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's move on to new business here. Ordinance number 9865-21. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with GPD Group to conduct a no feasible alternatives analysis and declare an emergency. I have a motion for suspension by Asbury, second by Spinks. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Nudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
yes,
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes.
We did this one.
Yeah, Don?
I thought
Did I
we
get the
did
wrong
that
one?
already.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot to flip the page. I thought that sounded familiar. Sorry. Ordinance number 9865-21.
There we go.
Sorry. An ordinance providing for the adoption of new matter in the codified ordinances of Bedford to approve, adopt, and enact the March 2021 replacement pages to the codified ordinances of Bedford, Ohio, herein after codified ordinances, to repeal certain ordinances in conflict therewith or deemed obsolete and declaring an emergency. I have a motion for suspension by Mezak, second by Fluharty. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
yes,
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. A motion for third and final by Spinks, second by Saunders. This is a thing we do every couple times a year to update our ordinances, bring them all up to date, so all our ordinances are correct. And it's kind of involved getting all this redone, but something needs to be done, and we do it yearly so that we're all up to date and in step with the ordinances and codes from the state of Ohio. So that's what that's all about. And clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
yes,
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. And we have ordinance number 9866-21. An ordinance amending ordinance number 9775-20 to provide for continuing membership in the Ohio Municipal League Joint Self-Insurance Pool, providing for payment thereof, therefore, and declaring an emergency. A motion for suspension by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Nudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
yes,
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. A motion for third and final by Asbury, second by Saunders.
Take that there.
Yeah, Frank?
Yeah, in regards, the OML has represented us very well over the last few years, and we've had many cases that we've been a party to. In some cases with our accidents that we've had, we've been a little bit excessive on the amount of claims that we've had in the last couple of years. And therefore, by contract, which is our 3-year contract, they do have the right to add an additional premium. Therefore, they have done so for the year 2021. Still with that additional premium, it's still reasonable based on the amount of workload that they've had for us in the last 3 years. Ask council to go ahead.
Bless you.
Bless you.
God bless you, and pass this ordinance this evening.
Okay, any questions? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now we have ordinance number 9867-21. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Welker McKee Cleveland to purchase touch-free faucets and other restroom facility upgrades for City Hall and Ellenwood Center and declaring an emergency. Can I have a motion for suspension? By Fluharty, second by Asbury. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
Yes. Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. And a motion for third and final by Mezak, second by Saunders. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. We received 2 separate quotes, one from Trumbull Industries and the second from Welker McGee. As the ordinance states, it's administration's recommendation to go with Welker McGee. We did obtain quotes for numerous hardware brand Sloan, as well as retrofit Zern hardware. Currently, we have Zern equipment in the municipal center. And it's our recommendation to go with the lower of the quotes for the Zern retrofit, which was provided by Welker McGee at the $24,000 and change read in the ordinance. These upgrades will be funded through dollars that came in and that are approved under the CARES funding. So it's not costing the city per se any of our general fund dollars. We'll be using the CARES money to pay for these upgrades to both of these facilities.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. Ordinance number 9868-21. Ordinance authorizing the city manager to participate in the Odot winter contract for road salt and declaring an emergency. Seems bad to talk about road salt, and we haven't even got into summer yet. The way it is. So can I have a motion for suspension, please? By Saunders, second by Spinks. Clerk, call the roll.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. And a motion for third and final by Mezak, second by Asbury. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we're required to give an estimate on the amount of tons the city will commit to purchasing next year. This is to allow ODOT to go out for bid to try to get the best price per ton for road salt. We are committing to 2,800 tons and in participation with this bidding process. Out of the 2,800 tons, we will be required to commit to purchasing at least 90%. So in essence, if it's a very light winter and we don't go through the 2,800 tons, we are still required to purchase 90% of that number, at which point we would have to store.
Any other questions? Seeing none, clerk call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
yes,
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. And we have a motion to approve the, it says approve twice, okay. Motion to approve or deny the zoning board of appeals decision to deny a variance of ordinance 1949.19, signs permitted in B2A district, D16, billboards, prohibited, requested by Alexander M. Ryback of Libby Road in Bedford Heights. In this case, a yes vote would mean you agree with the planning commission or the zoning board. A yes would mean deny, and a no would mean you approve. So can I have a motion for such? By Spinks, second by Fluharty.
Mayor, if I could just say, I believe the denial is going to be based on the concern of the property owners, a concern about the aesthetics in the area, and the fact that a hardship cannot be based on financial reasons alone. If that's your reasons, I would ask that you state those in your motion.
Yes, so as the law director said, we will add those reasons to the motion. And as I say again, yes, you agree with the board, which means deny. No, you disagree with the board, which means to approve. So clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
yes,
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
You're muted.
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes.
I bumped it.
And next we have a motion to appoint Angela Perinchek to the Record Retention Committee for the 3-year term, I have a motion to accept by Mezak, second by Spinks. Clerk,
Make it.
or Frank, you want to explain what this?
Yeah, the
board-
record commission, what we do is we're in charge of keeping track of all the records of the city, the requests and the minutes of the what records are going to be destroyed, what records are subject to our schedules, record retention, to maintain those records. And we meet twice a year by law. We have to look at things as to whether or not there'll be any types of records need to be destroyed. And that's the purpose of the organization. We do have an opening on the commission, and we highly recommend Angela for this position.
Thank you. Any questions? Tracy, call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Janudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
yes,
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. And now we come to that portion of the meeting for hearing of citizens. And as I stated earlier, if you have a comment, go to citymanager@bedfordoh.gov. Mike, we have anything? You're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yes, we have one question or comment from Austin Reed at 764 Wellman Street. When will, or Mr. Reed's comment is, when will council be open to the public? If we can go out to the hardware store, church, and everywhere else, there's no reason why council meetings cannot be held open to the public as designated. I'll touch on it briefly. If I don't know if Mayor, you wanted to add, it is something, Mr. Reed, that we have been discussing. I think one of the components is the chambers is not as large of a space as per se a church. So you have to, if we're going to allow, there's 12 or 13 people included in this group. And when you open it up to the public, it could make things difficult to socially distance properly. And if we are open, we cannot turn people away. So if we are open and 45 people come and there's no way for us to safely distance, we can't say, well, we're only going to allow 20 in and not allow the other. That we cannot do. So right now, it is something that I think each and every one of us, although I don't want to speak for everyone, I think each and every one of us would prefer to meet and engage with the public again. We just want to make sure, one, that when we do so, we're able to do so safely, but also be able to adhere to any guidelines that are currently in place. If that best, I don't know if any mayor you wanted to add to that, but the biggest thing is we can't open it up, and if it's a busy night, cut it off and not allow. We have to be open one way or another. And council chambers is not that large of a room, and it could create some confusion there.
Yeah, and also the governor is still allowing us to do remote meetings. So we all prefer to meet in person. It just seems so much easier, and you get a better dialogue. But until the governor says we have to, and we look at it constantly. We check now and then about trying it, but right now that's the way it is. Anything else?
No, I refreshed it a few other times. That was the only comment this evening.
All right. Well, in that case, can I have a motion for adjournment? By Spinks, second by Fluharty. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Spinks,
Yes.
Nudis,
Yes.
Fluharty,
Yes.
Mezak,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again.